What's up, everybody? It's all Cap tonight. And as a famous QB1, if you know, you know, says, well, what do you want to talk about? Let's hit it. Start this intro. We'll get right into things.
Brand new banger.
It's Nukkle Hedd Comics Tuesday. It's fucking Tuesday. We got Lay in the building. We got Cap in the building. Cabs can't make it tonight, but he's here in spirit. On Lay.
My man, just chilling, brother, chilling.
What's up, Cap? How you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Is that and the father goes shamefully? That's my son. And the other guy goes shamefully. Orion goes, that's my father. Choose fear and hate to run your life. Something you can't do. That was wrong with me from the beginning. I was doing it that way. I was gonna go down that path. I worried.
You thought it was Grayson?
Sorry, got hurt. Not him. Not him.
Crack his brain for somebody, anybody that can help, and remembers. Freeze.
The media.
Randall Savage.
Randall Savage. With his knowledge and all other shit and his capacity to learn.
Absolutely.
This is the only vegan I'll ever eat is grilled chicken wings, because that's like vegan to me. You know what I'm saying? Because the chicken wings are supposed to be fried, but you grill the chicken wings and you put it in some sauce and give it some blue cheese.
Is vegan.
That's vegan. Like regular moo cow fuck milk. Put it in some Honey Nut Cheerios. Vegan, because Honey Nut Cheerios good for your heart. You know what I'm saying? Can I steal the question from Cabs?
I got it right.
I would also like to steal. I would also like to steal. I would also like to steal.
You're too late.
Wow.
I stay loose, I stay hype, I stay loose, I stay hype, I stay loose, I stay hype. I could do this all night, cause I do what I like, yeah I do what I like, yeah I
What is up, everybody? It's Tuesday Night Comics. And apparently that was the other intro, the old intro, which I'm not even sure we can use anymore. That's why I cut it short. So, yeah, it's your boy Cap, all me, unless somebody else jumps in. Tonight, going to do a little, talk about X-Men 97, talk about a little bit of the animes that I'm watching now. Then we're going to build the D&D character on D&D Beyond. Go through a couple of things of how you make the character, where do you start with the character, show you how easy it is on D&D Beyond to make a character. Again, it's not sponsored. There's plenty of other tools in which to use to build characters. But figured I'd show you something that's the easiest to start with and the easiest to pick up. But we'll get there when we get there. So, first things first. Spider-Man, brand new day, just passed 1.6 billion with a B dollars at the box office. This movie's doing bananas business. I think it only dropped maybe 49% in in week 2, which is a good hold. Worldwide, it's doing gangbusters. This is probably going to be, or people are saying it's on track to be the highest grossing movie of all time, which I believe it's got to pass one of the avatars. I'm going to look it up right now. Highest grossing movies of all time. Yeah, it's got to beat Avatar if it wants to get up there at $2.9 billion. Who knows if that's where that's going to end up, but it's on its way. Let's see where we are right now. And this would be good if I can spell the goddamn thing. Spider-Man, brand new day. Box office numbers. And right now, 1.67 billion. And I don't think there's much competition coming out for it. Maybe the end of Oak Streak, which is coming out, if not this week, next week. That might be a little bit of competition, depending on how many people want to see that and are interested in that. But it's dominating right now. I'm going to check the Odyssey, because I think the Odyssey also might have crossed $1 billion. Yeah, the Odyssey has surpassed $1.1 billion globally. So right now we got two movies sitting in the box office crossed crossed over the $1 billion line. That is something that is spectacular to see. People said comic book movies are dead. There's fatigue. Well, if you make them good enough, as we've been saying here on the channel this whole time, if you make them good enough, they will succeed. People will go watch them. But that's an interesting concept, right? Same thing as if you watch like wrestling, right? You have Triple H the other day saying that it's our fault that the product is bad because all we're doing is complaining, saying some bullshit about how easy it is to get over. It's them. They got shitty writers. That's what he was saying. He said, don't blame the writers. Well, it is the writers. Because every other place that doesn't have writers has better fucking promos. Every promo in the business that was great didn't have a writer. They just went out and fucking talked. So, but to get back to the movie thing, same thing. We sat here, we talked about Supergirl, right? And talked about all the interesting shit that they left in the book and didn't bother to bring over to the movie. Well, it's writing, right? You made all this shit, or you wrote whatever you wanted to write. You adapted what you wanted to adapt, and it didn't fucking work. Then look at Christopher Nolan. He took the Odyssey. He wrote what he wanted to write. He adapted what he wanted to adapt, but it worked because his adaptation was closer, and they found the little things that they could change, like Clea. That was a mix of the Lotus Eaters and her character and one of the other things. So she was the first place that he went, and he got stuck there until Zeus told her to let him go. Then they went to the Lotus Eaters where the crew kept losing their memory. Then they went to see the witch, and they got turned into cows, and then some other shit happened, and then like those were the sequence of events in the play or in the poem. But he knew that with the little storytelling device, you could tell the story out of order because it's depending on who's remembering what at what time. And then you can merge the Lotus Eaters and Clea together and have him stay there the whole time, and whenever he leaves, is inconsequential to the story because we all know where he's going to end up in at the end anyway. So there's definitely places where you can take liberties and you can adapt certain things. You just got to pick the right spots. You got to pick the right moments, and you got to pick things that are not really that impactful to the story. And again, with the example of Christopher Nolan, you literally have the sequence of events in the poem. But again, with a clever writing twist, you can switch around the sequence of events, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't impact the story because we are getting the story anyway, right? We're getting the full story. Where you put certain things, the only things that matter, right? The start and the end. We know he's got to leave. We know he's got to leave the Trojan War, and we know he's got to wind up back in Ithaca. How he gets there in the middle, you could jumble around. You can do a whole lot of things. You can play around with. All that's good to go. With Supergirl, the things they changed they didn't add shit to the movie, and it didn't really, like, you took the bad guy and you changed him and you gave him no nuance, nothing about him that would matter. Nothing about him that would get us to care a little bit. Because look at Brand New Day, all right, Spider-Man. They gave us Jean Grey. Now, they completely switched Jean Grey and what she is and how she normally is. Right? They completely switched her around from what the comics are. Made her a little bit of a murderer. Right? We'll see how she gets redeemed. But then they gave us the thing with the sister. Then they gave us the thing with VMAX. Then she literally held Peter Parker together until he healed. They gave us a little bits, just enough to get us to invest in her, so that now, hopefully, when she gets into the X-Men movie, we can see an actual redemption arc. We can get to the Jean Grey that everybody knows and loves. Although, excuse me, you can't depower her now. If she was strong enough to do what she did in that movie, you got to keep that strength going. Got to make her more useful than she's been in the past. So with that, let's see here. We got X-Men 97. This is a little weird when it's a little just one-on-one talk, right? Just me talking to the camera here with nothing to bounce off of. But we'll do what we could do, right? So X-Men 97, we had another banger episode. This one we actually found out what happened to Apocalypse, what happened with Gambit. Gambit was turned into the Horseman of Death. He comes back to reclaim his throne as the Prince of Thieves and the Bayou with his guild. Then he essentially lures out the X-Men so he can take Rogue. And in this episode, we see what the fuck a fully unlocked Gambit can do. Because this motherfucker was badass. The entire team of X-Men couldn't do shit to stop him. And he was just kicking the fuck out of everybody, which was amazing. Excuse me. He wanted the amulet that was in... So, I don't know if you guys caught this, but when Ramen Tut left Egypt, what was it, 2 or 3 episodes ago? He left this girl to fend for herself, right? She honeypotted Apocalypse, got him to fall in love, all this BS, and then she dipped on him once she got some power. It's a little amulet that she got. So Gambit takes this, he lures out this woman, kills her, takes the amulet, and now is going to try to make Rogue immortal so they can be together forever. And then the twist comes in where, yes, that is Gambit, but Apocalypse's consciousness is in there and it's puppeting him a little bit, right? Because he still has the same desires, unless you're telling us that Apocalypse is that good of an actor that he knew what he had to say as Gambit to get Rogue, to keep Rogue, to set all that shit up. So Professor X finally does something fucking useful, goes into Gambit's mind, sees that it's Apocalypse, pulls him out. He's trying to pull him out. He's about to get stopped, and then Rogue, with the power of the amulet in her, she comes in. She fucking pulls out Gambit. So Gambit is back now with the X-Men. And it's a little thing that they do in comics that I'm not a big fan of, because people, characters die and then they come back. I don't know how I feel about this truly, because the impact of Remy LeBeau dying in the first season was something that was deep, something that was like a shock to the system. And then you bring him back later on, and now it's like, all right, well, so Magneto, Let's just wait until they bring him back. Like who else? Who else is dead? Any of the ones who died when Wolverine took everybody to go visit the Weapon X program? Although they're background characters, they probably truly are dead. But like there's no stakes. You play for the emotion for the moment and not for the long term. And I'm I'm 50-50 on that. Because on one hand, I do understand that, you want to have these characters for as long as you can. And then on the other hand, you do want impactful moments. But at what point does it have diminishing returns? Where, like, what do you call it? The Avengers in Infinity War, when all of them dusted, was anybody who doesn't read the comics, they probably were sold, right? But if you read the comics or if you know what the fuck's happening, you knew everybody was coming back. So it was cool to see him win, to see Thanos win. But there's like no hard-hitting impact of the win because you know they got another movie. Right? Everybody's got to come back. They killed off all the characters that were going to continue once the ones that lived were done with their contracts. So the suspense was not all there, right? And of course, you got to bring everybody back because, again, and in the time, well, Spider-Man, we're now on Spider-Man 4. There's a new Black Panther for real life reasons, right? But he was going to go and continue. And everybody in Ant-Man had another movie. Just shit like that. But anyway, back to this episode. I like the fact that in this episode, we got to see Gambit really go into his own, really use his powers, prove that he's not just a card throwing guy. I mean, I know he had new death powers and shit, but he really gave the X-Men a run for their money and was really kicking the shit out of people, which is something that you like to see. You want to see these characters actually do some shit. Then you got Cable, who I don't know if he's as kumbaya with Scott and Jean as he says he is with them. Because I think deep down under the surface, he really doesn't like playing this kid shit where those are his parents. I think he still has some resentment that he got sent away and the weight of dealing with apocalypse was put squarely on his shoulders. I mean, that's got to eat somebody up inside, right? Now they're teaming up with X-Force or with X-Factor. So that should be something going into episode 9, which I think is the season finale, which should be coming out today, actually. Matter of fact, let's check the old Disney Plus. Check the Disney Plus and see where we're at. Oh, it looks like they got a brand new Star Wars Vision. Oh, the Ninth Jedi. Or the Ninth Jedi. Brand new Star Wars Vision. That's something we're gonna have to check out. And maybe do a review or something for. Then X-Men 97, new episode. Probably, it says new episode, but we're only at episode 8 here, so maybe it'll come out later on tonight or maybe in the morning. Who knows? The releasing of these episodes have been weird after the first few. So we got another good episode from X-Men 97. We got I think the season finale coming up, if not episode 9, which we'll talk about next week. It has been revealed that season 3 is coming out next year and season 4 in 2028. So 2028 is shaping up already to be good because you have X-Men 97 season 4, Ghost Rider, and then Black Panther 3. Now, if we learned anything from Blade, do not trust that any movie is going to be made from Marvel until you actually see a trailer or we get a report that the fucking film has started shooting, because we should have been on Blade 2 by now, or Blade 1 and then a Midnight Suns by now, and they've for some reason, I know we keep beating that dead horse, but they can't make that movie work to save their lives, and it's the strangest thing I've ever seen, because they did 3 of them without Marvel around. And Mahershala Ali is pissed, rightfully so. I mean, how do you tap this guy to be a hero, to be one of your heroes, and then you can't crack the movie? That's bananas. Especially when, if you can't crack the movie, take a comic run. Just adapt the fucking comic then. We all know who Blade is by now. Right? Because either you're like me and you grew up with Blade 1, Blade 2, and Blade Trinity, or you're one of these new kids who saw Blade in Deadpool and Wolverine and went, who the hell is that? And then went back and saw everything that Wesley Snipes did. But, again, we're beating a dead horse. It's finally time to move on from that. Somewhere down the line, somebody's going to be lucky. You know what? If he can do it, and if he wants to, I would say John Boyega. Let's give him a little bit of redemption after the stupidity they pulled in Star Wars. Now let's give him Blade. Now let's see what he can do with it. But, I digress, because that's a bridge too far, apparently, is this movie with Marvel. All right, we're going to pivot right now to a little bit of anime. And we're not going to talk like not going to talk the standard anime that everybody knows about, One Piece, Dragon Ball, Solo Leveling, because everybody knows about those. Couple of animes that I'm watching now that I want to just highlight. There's this one here. It's been out for a while. It's called To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts. Now, this is a dark fantasy where this country was split into two. They had a civil war, basically, like literally a North and a South. The South was winning until the North had scientists figure out a way to give people these abilities. And each ability had something different, and each person had something different, and they turned into literal beasts. One dude turned into a minotaur. One dude turned into a dragon. One lady was a siren. One was an octopus. One was a bird. One's a werewolf. Right, and so now they're fighting for the North in this secret division. All right, and then we come to find out that whatever they did to these people to make them these beasts is I'm still getting over the throat issue, and this is the most I've talked in a while. So they have their own division, but whatever they're doing to these beasts, they call them incarnates. Whatever they did is not slowing down. It's still progressing. And little by little, the beast nature is taking over the host. And they stop being human and start being more of the monster, more of the beast. And they make a pact that if anybody loses their humanity, that they're the ones that have to take them out. So they got to be killed by their own. So that way they're not taken out by like a military that doesn't give a shit, or they're not exploited by somebody else. Their own people make the hard choices, and they have they band together to take everybody out. Well, the doctor who started this whole thing actually came up, and I'm only a few episodes in, so this is all within the first 3 to 4 episodes. The doctor realized that she screwed up because she can't figure out why the mutation hasn't stopped, why it's kept going. And she devises a plan. She makes these bullets that can kill incarnates. And her and one of the lieutenants come up with a plan. They're going to kill the captain, then go around and kill everybody else, kill all the incarnate. That way they can die as heroes and not feared as monsters. So the captain, he's in love with his doctor. He's going to talk to her and be like, hey, I'm going to propose after the war's over. Everything's like, his plan was for everything to be cool. They can live together. She shoots him in the gut. Now, for some reason, the bullet is lodged in his stomach. It didn't kill him, but I guess it's slowing the progression of the disease, because he spent 2 years in a coma and woke up. And he has the ability now to kind of phase shift. He's his regular self. Then he's got extra strength. Then he gets like white hair. Then he can turn into his werewolf form. But he doesn't seem to be... whatever's happening with him doesn't seem to be progressing. All right? But all that happens after he gets shot. So she shoots him. She turns to the lieutenant and goes, hey, tough choice, but now we got to kill everybody else. The lieutenant turns out to be a dick. He kills the doctor. And now, all these years later, when this dude wakes up, when the captain wakes up, he gets recruited by the government once again to go after the incarnates because they survived, because obviously this dude didn't kill any of them. And they have returned, since the wars ended, they have returned home. And each one of them is terrorizing where they live because they can't control the beast, and the beast has come out. And now he's got the dude who turned into a dragon was running an orphanage. He left to go to war. His daughter was running the orphanage. He came back as a dragon. Couldn't change back to a man. Sorry. couldn't change back to a man. He was terrorizing the town. So the daughter was like, "Hey, let's run away." He kind of recognized what was happening, and so he decided to leave on his own. But then Captain, found him, took him out. What he thinks is mercy, right? And then the daughter tracked the captain down, almost killed him, like shot him pretty good in the chest. But because he's incarnate, he was able to heal through it. And now the two of them, like, she won't leave his side. She doesn't understand why all the incarnates have to die. So she wants to see for herself why that's the only solution they have. And that's where I'm at right now with that one. Pretty good watch. Comes subbed and dubbed. I'm watching it dubbed. Just because if that option's available, I take it. I'm getting better at subs, which we'll see some on the list here of what I'm watching. But I'd recommend that one. I actually like that one. I think that one's pretty good. It's a dark fantasy, but light enough to watch, where nothing too heavy is happening just yet. Right, because sometimes these dark fantasies, they get really heavy and you're like, shit. Now, if you weren't expecting it sometimes it gets a little tough to sit through. All right. Hey, what's up, Mr. Loki? Let's see. So the what do you call it? Yeah, we talked about Blade being canceled. That's the dumbest fucking thing ever. Again, you have years of history in this fucking comic book character. You could have literally swapped him and Punisher out in this Brand New Day movie. Because Blade shows up in the fucking, what do you call it? In the Spider-Man cartoon. And you could have literally put him in there instead of Punisher because he thinks, oh, this is an occult thing. And then when it's not an occult thing, cool. He leaves because all he does is deal with the occult. What's this? Sam Wilson and their television division slimming down. Yeah. They canceled Wonder Man season 2, which I think we talked about last week. All right, it's like after that series ended, I don't know where the hell you go, because what made that series so good was the casual nature of it. The fact that it was not about, the men had superpowers, but it wasn't about a superhero or a supervillain. And once you break somebody out of a fucking Supermax prison, it's pretty hard to go back to just two dudes having good conversation and bouncing off each other. So I don't know what the fuck you do with them. So maybe that wasn't a bad thing. I think that them slowing down is actually a good thing, man, because you want to work on quality and not quantity. Right? Just because this was a quote from Jurassic Park in the first one. Jeff Goldblum, character, Malcolm, said it. It's like, you guys are so focused on what you could do, you never stop to ask what you should do. All right, and I'm paraphrasing. That's probably not the full quote, but that's close enough, right? And that's what they've done now. They were like, oh, we have all these characters. We can make all these shows. We got the Disney Plus app. People are going to subscribe. They're going to watch. They never asked, should they do it? They got lucky with Agatha. They got lucky with Wonder Man. They got a miss with Ironheart, but lucky with Sacha Baron Cohen, who I do believe he's going to reprise his role as Mephisto in Ghost Rider, which is good. There's been hit and misses everywhere good with The Punisher and with Werewolf by Night. Parts of Moon Knight were good. Ms. Marvel was good, but they're doing Vision Quest, but at a certain point, too much is just too much. So slowing down, realistically, I think is a good thing. And forgive me, I don't know how to put the chat up on the screen. Never mind, I figured it out. There you go. Look at that. Learning on the fly. So there's the quote. There's the question right there on the screen. If anybody's watching and wants to participate, jump on in. Come into the chat. Say hello. Let's have a discussion here. So back to, that's a good question though, Mr. Loca. Thank you for that. Back to the animes here. Another anime that I'm watching. This one has a little bit of controversy in it. So it's called The Exalted Heavy Knight Knows How to Game the System. All right, and that one is just this one is new. This one's only got like 6 episodes out. Again, subbed and dubbed. I started subbed. Then when the dub came out, I went back and watched dubbed. So this one is a kind of a isekai, where the dude is born into this world of a video game, or the world acts like a video game he knows. And when he played the video game, he picked the Heavy Knight class. Right? It has high defense, it has high vitality, but it's shit all for offense. It really doesn't have any offensive power. So people in the real world has dubbed it the worst class. But he figured out how, while he was playing the game, he figured out how to make the Heavy Knight work. So now he's a kid growing up in this world that turns out to run very similarly to the game he knows. It was his birthday, or I don't know if it was his birthday, but he reached the age to do the ritual to gain your class. And as you would know it, he wanted the Heavy Knight. He got the Heavy Knight. But his father was astounded and supremely disappointed because, again, everybody knows that the Heavy Knight is the worst class you can get. This other fucking girl who's like a cousin of this guy came in. She got a swordsman class. So the father, like, literally exiled him. Told him, if you ever use your last name, I will have you killed. Gave him a little bit of gold, kicked him the fuck out, took the cousin as now an adopted daughter. She's going to gain control of whatever the fucking nobility he has whenever he passes it down, and now he's kicked out. But as the name says, he's really good at making this class work. So he did a couple of things to level up. He beat a giant spider that he shouldn't have been able to beat because he figured out how to debuff the spider enough to make one of his defensive spells. It's called Rampart Reflection. So however much damage you do to it, it reflects back to you. Right? But what happens is with a higher class beast, because you're lower class, they don't hit you as hard as they can. They hit you as hard as they need to. So they hit you to kill you, but whatever reflects back is not enough to kill them. So he had to debuff the spider, which he figured out on his own, which was pretty dope. Then, of course, when he went, he went to the guild to become an adventurer. Everybody thinks he's cheating because everybody's like, how the fuck did this class do anything? Then he then he went on a raid to raise his rank because he's an F rank adventurer. He's trying to level up in the adventuring guild. They ran into this fucking powerful enemy, which was level like 36. They had a level 40 with him. Nobody listens to this guy. Shit ensues. A fight breaks out. The captain not dies, but he gets knocked out. Heavy Knight has to go in there and defend everybody. And now they see for the first time that this dude knows how to use this class effectively. And that episode actually was episode 4, just ended with him now saying that there's a book out there. Anybody who's ever played Elden Ring, which by the way, I'm doing my New Game Plus playthrough now. I know, so many years later, I finally went back to play it again. But anyway, if you know an Elden Ring, in order to get like lightning spells or what was it, the Black Knife spells, there's a book. There's certain books that you need to find and hand them to certain people to unlock the spells or sorceries or whatever. Well, in this show, there's a book that he knows of that's going to be hard as fuck to find. But once you combine that book with what he has already, it unlocks now a version of the Heavy Knight that is now more offensive and it can actually do some real damage. So he's starting to quest on that one. So now the controversy with this one is a lot of people have been complaining about the anime style. And if you guys ever seen Jason Bourne, right, you know that the director, he wanted you to be in the fight, right? He wanted you to feel part of it. So he did the fucking shaky cam close-up action where everything's rumbling, so it looks like you're in the fight with them. The punches move. So this doesn't have shaky cam, but it does have sweeping animation where if he's running in and he's going to dodge and then come up for a strike, the camera dodges with him, swoops in with the strike, pans back out, and like whatever movements he's doing, the camera movements is also doing. And people were complaining that animation style was like giving them motion sickness. And it's a little, the first episode, it was a little jarring because you're just not used to it, right? But now like I said, I'm episode 4. I think it's fine. I'm not having a problem with it. I'm enjoying the anime, to be honest. That's another one I would recommend. Again, I do dub if dub's available, but sub's perfect. I mean, sub's the original way to watch it. So feel free to watch however you would like. As we're going to talk about the next anime, which I got one more, and then I am going to talk about one that I am watching dubbed. There's a few that I'm watching dubbed that I think are subbed. Sorry, I'm watching subbed that I think are great. But now, I'm going to give you a peek into my world here. So as you can see, I'm watching a shit ton of anime. Like, look, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It still doesn't stop. So when I'm searching for something and I can't find it, like, look, this is how much I've watched. Finally, it stopped. That's how much I've watched since getting Crunchyroll. And again, a lot of them I've stopped and started. A lot of them I finished because they've only one season. But we'll talk about this one here. So if anybody's ever seen Solo Leveling is an anime in which the world has been overrun with dungeons, right? But ever since dungeons came up, certain people have been hit with but they've been given these skills and they've been given these levels, right? Anywhere from E to S class. And you form a party, you go into these dungeons, you clear them out, and that's how you get money. That's how you get work, making sure whatever's in there doesn't come out to Japan, and because it's in modern day. All right, so the main character in Solo Leveling, he's born E class, or he has an E class, which is the worst class. He winds up dying, but he gets reincarnated as an S class. but he still appears as an E, right? And then he does all this shit where he's leveling up. He's trying to get better. He's taking powers and blah, blah, blah from the dungeons. That's solo leveling. There's a Korean one now called Tomb Raider King, in which, again, these tombs show up in modern day Korea. And these people now have to go in. They get job classes. They get ranks. And they go in and they take care of the shit in the tombs before they come out in the world. The twist is, this main character, he was very strong. He should have beat the fucking boss that he was fighting, but he didn't. So he dies. But he did such a good job that they were like, okay, we're going to up your level and send you back so you could become the king of these tombs. So they sent him back 15 years before all this shit started. So now not 15 years before everything started. They sent him back 15 years. So he was the 30-year-old. Now he's a 15-year-old again. But he's still maintaining the level of his 30-year-old self. His speed, his strength, his knowledge, his fighting ability, all that shit. And now he's back, and now he's starting to move all these little pieces around, because I think the first tomb is about to show up. So he's setting all the groundwork of shit that he knows has already happened, trying to put shit in his favor as he becomes a king. I think if you like solo leveling and you're waiting for the new season to come out, I think you can give this one a watch. It's not bad. I would definitely recommend it. I'm trying to find. Yeah, like I said, so much shit that I watch. Where the fuck? The Damon's Shadow Realm, the Shadow Realm is a good one. That's the successor to Full Metal Alchemist. That's the next anime from the people who did Full Metal Alchemist. That's a good one too, about these twins born one day, one night. They can control demons, or daemons as they call them. I've been a couple episodes in it. I really got to catch back up to it. But that's a good one. If you like Full Metal Alchemist, this one is pretty good as well. Let's see if it's on. Let's see what we got on the homepage. Skeleton Knight. Oh, Black Torch. Black Torch is one that I've seen. So Black Torch is another one of these. It's like Chainsaw Man, but without the chainsaw shit. It's another one of these. Demons are in the real world. You know, people. There's an organization trying to stop them, banding together. That one's pretty good. I like it. It's a little bit like, trying to think what it would be like, because it's not quite Demon Hunters, it's not quite Bleach, but it is similar to those where it's the protagonist, but he now shares. He saved the demon who was being attacked, so now the demon has shared his life essence. So he can now fight these things hand to hand, which that's pretty fucking cool. Here we go. So, the Villager of level 99. That's one. And the other one is I became a legend after 10 years. What was it there? Oh, yeah. I became a legend after my 10-year long last stand. All right, so the Villager of 99, this is another world that's like video game-ish, where everybody has a level. There's heroes and all that, and villagers, like in any game, are always level 1, low level. They can't really do shit. I think they can get it up to maybe a C, but it's a C in some and like blacksmithing or something that's not really useful to the Adventurers Guild. Except one villager somehow became level 99. So this dude he's the absolute top tier out of all heroes or anybody. But he wants to just live a normal life. Doesn't really like exploit his power or position. The twist in this one is he thinks demons and humans can live together. Like he's not prejudiced just because demons attack cities. He thinks that they could still coexist together. He's got the demon's daughter, the Demon King's daughter, who was looking for somebody who can help her because the Demon King is sick. So they're running around together. They got the heroes party who is slowly but surely being convinced that this dude, that maybe they can coexist. But, as of the moment, there's still a conflict between them all. That one's dope. The I Became a Legend one. Now, this one is another subbed one that I'm watching. This one is fucking weird as hell. So there's 3 heroes at the beginning of this fighting the Demon King. They get to the end of this war. They win. Then they realize that it's not over. But they've been fighting. 2 of them have families. One of them is just a kid who's like he's got nothing going for him. So he lets the other 2 leave while he's like, yo, I'll spray cover. You guys get the fuck out. He gets trapped, right? In with the demons. He learns this lifesteal ability from defeating one of these demons. And then fights for 10 straight years. Taking out every single fucking demon. The Demon King, the real Demon King, every fucking body he fought with his lifesteal, with his other skills. And then at the end of it, he got to come back home. Except he still looks like he does when they left. He still looks like a young kid. But he came back to the world 10 years later. There's statues of him for the sacrifice he did. There's legends about him. And now he's back and he's reunited with his old team. And now he's just set to try to be an adventurer. Living a life as a fucking legend that 10 years ago won the war. But for him, the war finished yesterday. And this one's a little lighter. This is not, it's not a dark fantasy. It's light where you can you can really get like the enjoyment of it. He thinks this shit's cool. Like he saw himself in the statue and was like, damn, is that what they think I'm gonna look like? Like he thinks everything's fucking dope. So if you're looking for a good light watch, Villager of 99 is pretty good. Subbed. I Became a Legend after my 10-year last stand. Subbed. Pretty fucking good. If you really want some dark shit though, Roll Over and Die. That's one that's this girl gets a curse mark, but where normally the curse like fucks people up, somehow it has the opposite effect. And just it helps her where it shouldn't. Then there's Clevertis. That one's one that's like you got to be in the mood to watch that. That one's slightly darker than slightly darker than normal. Where again, the hero of the party was trying to be one of the Demon Kings. They failed. But the Demon King, she fought so good the Demon King brought her back to life, gave her some powers. They also found like I think like a royal baby that they're taking care of now. Then they go to this village where this woman is just getting abused. She was a milkmaiden for the baby. The Demon King took her, like revitalized her, and now she's taking care of the baby while they're, all traveling and shit. It's it's a little weird and hard to explain, but definitely if you like that little like dark fantasy that sometimes you got to be in the mood to watch, Clevitus. That's a pretty good one to get into. Now, you saw the list. There's millions upon millions of animes that I fucking watch. Skeleton Knight. It's another one that season 2 just came out. Here's, you know what? I'll give you one that I won't recommend. Old Country Bumpkin Becomes a Swordsman, I believe is the name of that one. It's on Amazon Prime. That one is on season 2. The first season, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It has the most realistic fighting or sword fighting techniques that you'll see in an anime. And what I mean by that is they actually try to put real sword techniques in the anime. The issue now with season 2 is it's fucking boring. Nothing's happening. The main character, there's a difference between the main character who's OP and not OP. Well, this guy is not really OP. Like, he's good. He's really good. But he acts like he doesn't know shit. He acts like he's nothing. Which is super fucking annoying because how many times do you got to be able to defend yourself and to stop motherfucker before you? He's like Daniel-san from Karate Kid. The first one he was getting bullied, didn't believe in himself, and then he won. The second one, getting fucking bullied again when he went to Japan, didn't believe in himself, but he won. The third one to get bullied again is like, at what point do you stop fucking doubting yourself after beating everybody's ass? Then some of the acting, the voice acting is, I think, on purpose, like bad, but that one's a tough one to watch, so I wouldn't recommend that. Again, doing this one-on-one talk thing is a little weird to put transitions and put different things in, but now we're going to transition into the final topic of the night. My favorite thing and yours, well, not yours, but my favorite thing definitely, D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. I thought it'd be cool if we went over character creation. All right, because there are many fucking tools now to create a character for D&D. There's free resources. There's a whole thing you could do. Demiplane has one. There's multiple different character creators. In fact, I'm gonna look this up right now for you. D&D care. Yo, what's up, Kenny? Let's see here. Yo, D&D is easy to play. Matter of fact, while we're doing the character creator, I'm going to I'm going to show you how easy it is to play. So, if you see here, there's a bunch of different resources that you can use to do character creation for D&D. The one we're going to use is D&D Beyond. So D&D Beyond is the official. It used to be a standalone third-party app, but now it is the official D&D app for Wizards of the Coast. And it is the thing that I use. So like you can see here, this is all the resource books that you can buy. So like I bought the player's handbook, I bought the DM's guide. I have a couple of different books down here that I bought because I bought different parts of different books. You could in the past you could do that. Now you got to buy all the book, the whole book. But what we're going to talk about here is the character creator. As you see with the free subscription app, or the profile, the free profile, you get up to 6 characters that you can create. See, I got mine here. We're going to go over it. This is going to be nice and easy using with the app. Then I'm going to show you a little bit about how the app works. And we're going to have a nice time here. So, things you can do with the app. First off, there's a pre-made or you can go custom. I always go custom. All right. Now, there's a multitude of ways in which you can make a character, but here's the 2 easiest to start. You can either start with the story or you can start with the build. Right? Starting with the story is simple. You just come up and go, oh, I have an idea for a guy who, matter of fact, here's one of my paladins, right? The idea I had for him was he was somebody who doesn't fully believe in the God of the church, but he had no choice but to work for the church because that was the only way he could find money to make a living. He rose up, through the clergyman ranks, not fully like a priest or anything, but he's part of the groundskeeping team that keeps everything clean, that keeps everything in shape. He wound up being a guard for a little bit, so he got some of the fight training. There was a demonstration one day at the church where they were going to crown the new paladin, the new champion for their god. Right? Except they needed somebody for this dude to fight, so they picked my guy. Right? They went into the arena. Turns out that their champion, not that good in a fight. So my guy wound up winning. And by default, he now has to be the champion. He has to be the paladin. So, Kenny, this is the best thing. Again, you don't even need to buy anything. Right? Again, if you get the app and make a profile that's a free profile, there's resources. I mean, of course, if you buy the books, you get more shit, but there's enough on there to build a guy, like you'll see in just a moment. So yeah, my guy he became the champion anyway, and now he ventures out. So you can start there, and he's like, okay, well now this dude's a paladin, so now I got to build one. Or you can start with, what do I want to be? Oh, I want to be a ninja who kicks the shit out of everybody with their hands, who does cool acrobatic shit. Cool, well that's your monk. So then you build your monk first, and then you figure out your backstory. Because the best thing about D&D is your backstory is fluid. Right? It doesn't have to. You don't have to write everything all at once. In game, you could just decide, hey, so scenario, you're going into this crypt because there's an item that you have to get. You were sent on a job to go get it, right? In the crypt, you come across a ghoul that you have to fight. It's a tough fight. Like ghouls, they do some fucked up shit. You survive. In the moment, you can turn around and go, hey, my character doesn't know what ghouls are, but I think it'd be cool if one of the kids in the village that we grew up with, he was a bully or whatever, but he died. And then one night when we were messing around the cemetery, we had to fight him because he came back to life. So then you work with your DM and you go, okay, cool. So now in your backstory, you still don't know what a ghoul is,
but you didn't know you were fighting a ghoul, right? So you had some knowledge, and now you could tie it into your backstory that you had this experience. This is the second time now that you fought a ghoul. So now you can either branch it off into specialized training, or maybe you could work it into, depending on what class you have. Oh, I have this spell, like a necromancer. I have this spell that makes that I can conjure an army of the dead. And now you've had 2 instances where you see what they can do when they're reanimated. So now you want to learn how to puppet them yourself. And that sets you on that journey. And it's something you came up with at the table that is nice to add your, so nothing feels stale. Like your DM can go, oh, that's good to have in the back pocket for an off day. Boom, I throw you the spotlight. We'll play this out. Right? So again, your backstory doesn't have to be fully done. Shit, you don't even need a backstory. Technically, I show up. Cool. And anytime somebody asks you something, that's when you say what the fuck happens in your past. All right. But now, so we're going to make a character here. We're going to pick custom again. So then with custom, you get the standard, right? Or you get the quick guide, the quick build. Quick builder, again, is if you already know. See, the quick builder is not good for beginners because you don't know what the fuck any of these classes do. You don't know what anything is. So you pick something quick, cool, but not how to use them, right? So I would always go with the standard, which is what we're going to do. Then there's a whole bunch of options here where you're going to put your name. There's a whole bunch of options of what you're allowing, right? And basically, simply what you're allowing is homebrew items. So if you're running a campaign and let's say I'm the DM, I can make a weapon for you and add it to D&D Beyond. That way you can have it in your inventory and you can actually have it with you in all your shit. So you're not sitting there going, well, I'm using my phone for this part and then writing down on the paper what the special weapon is. Because sometimes you forget to add dice, or you get to add damage or shit like that when it's in 2 different things. Again, if you're not an experienced player, it gets a little tricky. So, you add homebrew things, you add all the rules that you want to play with. So you can either go with the new D&D Plus or D&D, I forget what the fuck they call it. D&D 1, I think, is the new one. You can go back to 5e and just all the ancillary shit here, right? You also have your advancement types. So you have fixed for your health when you level up. Milestone is what I always put for when you make those achievements. So there's 2 ways to level up, right? You either get XP or you get milestones. XP is a little difficult because it really is, you kill a monster, that monster, like in a video game, that monster's worth X amount of points, right? But technically speaking, whoever kills the monster gets the point. So if you're always in a fight, right, and you're wailing on this dude, but the wizard always comes in last minute and picks off everybody with a spell, well, then all the XP goes to the wizard. None of it goes to you. It gets a little weird. Milestone, I think, is always the best bet because then you can just narratively turn around after a big moment, go, boom, you level up. Or you can do like what they do in the new season of Critical Role, right? Their campaign 4. Their DM has actually allowed them to, he said, hey, you level up, but you tell me when. So you could do it in the middle of a fight. You could do it in the middle of a break time. You could do it pretty much any time that's where you think it would make the most sense to level up, which I think is a pretty cool idea. All right, so once you get all that done, we're going to go into the classes. All right, and you see all the classes right here. There's a lot of them, but we're not going to go over all. I'm going to tell you what they are, but we're not going to make a character for all of them. All right, so you got the typical barbarian, big brute who likes to fight things, super strong, good with weapons. You got the bard. The bard is the jack of all trade, right? You can make one that's a fighter. You can make one that's more utility. You can make one that's more spell heavy. But essentially, the bard is kind of like the face of the group. You could, I mean, I play a bard all the time, right? You can do one that he sings songs. You can do one that writes plays. You can do one that writes movies. He writes poems. You can do one that does it. He's a failed stand-up comedian. You can take the bard wherever you want. It's not locked down into any certain thing. Then you get the cleric. The cleric is your holy healer. That's the one that's gonna the biggest utility that can heal things. But if you don't want to heal, it can also be a war tank, which is fucking nice. All right. Then you got the druid, which is we're not doing magic from like books and spells and shit. We're in touch with the earth. There's different spells that nature gives us. There's different animals we can wild shape into if we need to. Right. Then you got the fighter, which is the classic fighter. There's a whole bunch of subclasses that you can go into: Battle Master, Champion, Echo Knight, Eldritch Knight, if you want a little bit of magic thrown in. Then you got the monk. The monk is the fucking ninja. The monk is the one that goes hand-to-hand combat, and it doesn't look like it's gonna do that much damage because you're only using your fist. But when you can hit twice and then spend a key point, hit 2 more times, do a stunning strike, stun the opponent, or when people fucking shoot missiles at you and you can deflect missiles and then catch it and throw it back at them, or if you fall from 150 feet in the air, which is supposed to kill any character, and you just go, fuck it, I'm a monk, bam, I land with no fall damage. Super useful, super fun to play. All right. Then you got the paladin. The paladin is your divine champion. So they kind of nerfed the paladin in this new thing, because before you could divine smite on every strike. Like you wouldn't swing your sword without using your divine smite. And then there was other smites like thunderous smite or searing smite that would take a spell slot. Well, now every smite takes a spell slot, so you can't just swing wildly. All right. So they kind of nerfed the paladin a little bit, but if you're experienced enough and know how to play, then you know when and where to use any of your smites. More than likely, if you get a natural 20, that's when the fuck you use your smite. Add all that fucking damage in, right? Then you got your typical ranger, which it's your man in the crow's nest, right? Take the arrow, snipe out the whatever enemy you have. They get bonuses on terrains if they know the terrains. They get a special enemy that they like to fight that they have special advantage against. But they can also be two-handed knife sword wielders. Don't actually have to use a bow and arrow. Again, you can just use like a dexterity build. If you played Elden Ring, double hand or power stance, they say, with 2 swords, which is cool. You got the rogue. Rogue's got many subclasses too. You could be the assassin. You could be arcane trickster. You could be the swashbuckler, which is pretty fucking cool. But essentially, you're trying to sneak around and get as much advantage as you can to do sneak attack damage. That's going to be your highest output for that. You got the sorcerer. Now, the sorcerer is an innate magic class, meaning you're born with it. Either you have wild magic, which means you got to essentially roll on a magic table every time you do a spell of a certain level, and random shit's going to happen. All your hair can fall out. You can turn blue. You can kill half your party because you are born with magic that is unexplainable. So wild shit happens. Or you could be a draconic blood. Somewhere down the line in your family, somebody had sex with a dragon. And now you got draconic blood, which is the one that most people pick because it's the stable one. You don't have to roll on the wild magic table. You just do your magic as you wish. All right, then they got the warlock. The warlock is the pact boy. That's the one who made the deal with the devil and now got powers to boot. The biggest thing with the warlock is the Eldritch Blast spell. That's your damage dealer, because you could do tons of fucking damage, multiple hits on that thing. Everything else it's a little wonky with that. That's definitely, I would say, a slightly more advanced play style. Then you got your wizard, which anybody who knows Harry Potter, wizards can learn any spell, pretty much every spell they can learn. Just have it ready. You can use an arcane focus, or you actually have to use materials like you need a pinch of salt and a newt's tail and a bat ear. Combine it, say a magic word, and boom, you got your spell, right? So those are the classes that you can use. We're gonna do a typical fighter because the fighter's the easiest, right? Now, they tell you when. Let me just lower the thing on here. So they tell you all the information that you need to know about the fighter, right? And the two main things that you're gonna build your character with is either strength or dexterity, right? Those are the two. One of those two are gonna be your highest stat, depending on how you want to play. All right, but you get things like you get to pick a fighting style. You get something called second wind, where you can either heal yourself or at a certain level you can use tactical mind, where instead of taking
Almost. My ass almost fell asleep. But go ahead. Continue.
so second level, instead of healing yourself, you can use your tactical mind and use those dice to help you succeed a roll that you failed. All right, so that's always useful. The martial classes now, like any class that has a sword or some sort of weapon, they have weapon mastery. Most of them do, where having the sword and mastery in it gives you an extra advantage, and we'll get into that when we make the thing. There's action surge. Action surge is fucking great. Essentially, you get to take another turn immediately, which is dope. So if you build correctly and you're in a situation where you're fighting the big bad or a boss, hit him hard, fuck it, action surge, hit him again. And if you're up a level where you have multiple attacks, now instead of going for 3 attacks, you got 6 attacks on this thing, which is dope.
That's
So
gonna
you
be
also
OP.
have that, huh?
I said that's gonna be OP. Hitting the person twice.
Yeah, that's one of the things with fighters, right? They're very limited on shit that they can do, but the shit they can do, they get to fucking go ham on it, right? So now once you add that class, you get to this screen here where you're gonna pick. Essentially, you're gonna build out your character, right? So level 1, you're gonna pick character traits. These again all come down to how you want to play. Do you want to be more? Do you want to be intimidating? Do you want to be perceptive? Do you want to have knowledge of history or insight? Right? And this one, we're gonna go simple. We're just gonna go intimidation, and we're gonna go survival. Right? Intimidation and survival, and I'll show you exactly where all those when you get to the character sheet, what all that looks like when you have points in there. Then you get to pick your fighting style. Your fighting style, which is branched off of here, I'll read all this out because again, I don't know how to take this screen to make it just me. But so you got archery if you want to build the fighter that's better than a rogue ranger, better. You get blind fighting, you get defense, dueling, great weapons fighting, interceptor, protector, or thrown weapon fighting. Right, thrown weapon fighting you can make Thor. Get a big ass hammer, throw it around. At level 3, you have weapon bond, where you can call it back to you, which we'll get into when we do the leveling. That shit's pretty fun. Dueling, if you do a dexterity build, right? If that's the thing you're doing, and you have a dex weapon in one hand and nothing in the other hand, you get more AC, which means it's harder to hit you because you're better at dueling, parrying, and getting out of the way. Defense is just straight up defense. Blind fighting, you get to fight people like 5 to 10 feet around you, even if you can't see them, which is kind of useful. Great weapon fighting. You get to use big ass fucking weapons without any of the penalties. But for this, we're just going to do defense, because defense is just adding one to your armor class, which as a fighter, since you're always up in the front line, the harder you are to hit, the better it is. All right, now we get to weapon mastery. All right, and weapon mastery, this is the thing that makes martial classes better in the new system. So let's see, we'll go with the simple longsword. All right, so you got the longsword in here, and again, I'll read all what this says. The longsword comes with sap. All right, when you hit a creature with the longsword, that creature then has disadvantage on attacking you for its next round. So if you succeed on a hit, the next time that creature gets to attack, it has disadvantage on you. And this happens every time you hit a creature with the sword. This is not something that has, that you have to put on. This happens every time. And you get to pick 3 weapons. So let's say with the club. All right, the club has slow. If you hit the creature with the weapon that has slow on it, you reduce its speed by 10 feet. So let's say the creature was trying to get somewhere. Right? Bam, you hit it with slow. Now, instead of the 30 standard movement, it has 20 movement, which means it might not get to its target. The target might be your wizard in the class or in your party, but now it might not be able to get there because you slowed them down. All right, then you have Vex. Vex is something like rogues have weapons mastery. This one's a good thing for rogues, right? Because when you hit a creature with whatever Vex weapon you have, you then gain advantage on your next attack. And with rogue, all their sneak attacks have to have advantage first. So every time you hit somebody, you get advantage on your next attack. That's dope. That's some shit that that everybody can use. Because having advantage, rolling more dice is part of the game, is the funnest part of the game. And having multiple chances to get a natural 20, that's what the game's all about, right? When you get down to the fighting part. Last one we'll go over. There's a couple more, but the last one go over is Graze, where even if you miss an attack with a weapon that has Graze on it, you still could do damage to that creature according to your ability modifier. All right, when you make an attack. And when we build out the whole thing, I'll show you what that is. But essentially is, if your ability modifier is +3, right? So you add a +3 to all your attacks. If you swing and miss, well, you still get to do 3 damage with it. Because you don't fully miss, you just graze them, which is a dope. All right, so once you do all that, then you get to the stuff that... So this section here is totally skippable, because this is now all your character shit. This is how tall is he? What color hair does he have? What color eyes does he have? Right? And all that can be in your head and just explained. I would suggest to actually fill all this out, because you can go through and you'll see it in your character. You'll see exactly what you said that he had. Because maybe you said, oh, one eye is scarred, right? And then you haven't played in 2 months. So when you come back, you forget which eye, you forget what the fuck you said, but you have it written down here, right? You also have personality traits and shit where, what is your ideals? How are you bonded to somebody in the party? What personality traits do you have? Are you a drunkard? Are you a womanizer? Are you a gambler? What are your flaws? Like, there's a whole bunch of things that you can fill out just to round out your character. Now we get to the species. This just essentially is what type of person you want to be. You want to be a cat person. You want to be a bird person. You want to be a human or orc or a dwarf or an elf, right? In this case, we're just going to go human. because humans have this thing. I don't know if you can see it, but humans have versatile, right? And what that means is you get to pick a feat straight out the gate. And we'll get to that in a second here. So once you pick your class, you're going to pick what size you are. For most things, it's small or medium. Pick medium because small is 2 feet, 2 to 4 feet. Medium is 4 feet to 7 feet. All right, so you always pick medium. Then you get a skill of your choice, and again, it's the same things before. Like, do you want to be perceptive? Do you want to be persuasive? Do you want to have knowledge of history? This one, we're gonna just pick athletics because we're doing a fighter. Now we get to the feats. The feats are little extra bonuses that you get to pick. All right, so alert gives you a bonus to your initiative. It also means that you can't be surprised. So there's a lot of times where you're going to walk into a thing and there's going to be a surprise round where all the enemies are going to get to act before you do. Alert, you don't get to be surprised. Right? Lucky is the feat where you get to re-roll a 1. If you roll the 1, you get to re-roll it, right? Use a luck point. Then you have magic initiatives. Depending on what build you're doing, you might want to go, okay, I'm doing like an Eldritch Knight. All right, well, I'm going to a little bit of magic in with this melee. So then you get to go in and get magic from either the clerics or the druids or the wizards. And you get to take one of their spells. And the best part about that is, so normally for like, let's say the wizard, right? The wizard is intelligence based. So if you pick wizard initiative, you get to dictate what skill. Matter of fact, we'll put it, right? We'll put wizard initiative, right? All right, yeah. Now you get to pick which skill you're going to use to cast your magic. Charisma, intelligence, or wisdom. All right, so that can help you if you, that can help you if you don't want to make somebody that's too much intelligence, because you have to have a dump stat, right? You have to have a stat that you're like, the lowest roll I have, it's going to get this stat. Well, this will turn one of the other stats into something useful for you. All right, in this case, we're just going to pick intelligence. Then you get to go through and you get to pick the spells, right? But for right now, because we want to make this the easy choice, we're going to switch our things to tough. Right? So tough is a feat that increases your maximum hit points by 2. So if your maximum hit points by the time we roll everything is, let's say, 10, because level 1, it's a low roll. Now it's up to 12, and you didn't have to do anything else. So it'll always be 2 above where you're supposed to be, right? Then you just pick your languages. Again, languages that come down to where your background is, where you grew up, what languages you think would be cool. You can speak Dwarvish, you can speak Draconic, Elvish, Giant, Goblin, Halfling. Like, those really don't matter too much in the process of building. You can always talk with your DM. Like, once you see what the towns are and what the people populating the town is, and a cool DM would let it slide. All right, we'll switch out the language or whatever. Here is now the fun part. Because now, being that you picked human, you now get to increase your ability scores. Right? So you got 2 options. You could take 3 ability scores and give them all a +1. Or you could pick 1 ability score, give it a +2, and give a second ability score a +1. All right, so we're going to go and increase the ability scores by 2. So for a fighter, let's say, we want to do strength. So we're going to give a +2 to our strength automatically. Then we're going to do a +1 to, let's say, dexterity. All right, so no matter what we roll, there's an automatic +2 and an automatic +1 that's going to be implemented. And now there's a couple different methods in which to roll your character. There's standard array, which the standard array, as you can see here, is the standard roll. So you have an 8, a 10, a 12, a 13, a 14, and a 15. So this is where you would go in and you would put, what do you call it? You would allocate whatever points you want to something. So if you wanted strength, like if you want strength to be your main, you put the 15 in strength. Now you have that +2, you got the 17. You put the 13 in dexterity, so it'll move up to a 14 because you got the +1. Meaning you put the 14 in constitution, so you have more health. You know, your charisma is low, so you put the 8 in charisma, so on and so forth. I like, though, the manual roll. Now this shit can go crazy because you can get a build that will blow up, right? So let's actually do this here. We're gonna hit roll. It rolls, boom, we got a 12, right? We're gonna roll again. That next one is what, a 16? Gonna roll the next die. That's a 15. Already, we got a 16, 15, and 12. We got 3 more rolls to go. What's that here? That's a 13. Hit the next roll. Another 12. And last roll. Bam, another 16. So now, we just rolled awesome numbers. None of your numbers are going to be negative. A lot of them are going to be good. So you got the 2 16s. So what are you going to do? You're going to put 1 for strength and 1 for dexterity. You always put the next highest for your con. So the 15 is going to be constitution. That's your life total. All right. Then you have the 12s and the 13 for whatever you want, right? Your intelligence, your wisdom, and charisma. You want to be a little more charismatic, like I like to play. So you put the 13 for charismatic, and then the 12 for wisdom and and intelligence. Then there's a little button here where you're going to apply the score. All right, once you apply it, you'll see the numbers generate. So remember, you had a 16 for strength, but now it's an 18 because you had that +2. You had the 16 for dexterity, but now it's a 17 because you had the +1. So on and so forth. Once we hit next, now your equipment. All right, and all this, the equipment phase, you can literally just pick whatever you want because it doesn't really matter. We're gonna, once you get into your character, I'll show you exactly what happens where you can set up for exactly what you want, right? So now this is your character sheet. This simple readout, right? The first thing it's going to show you is all your ability scores, right? So the number on the bottom in the small circle, those are the numbers that you rolled, right? But those numbers are inconsequential. It's the big numbers on top, the +4, the +3, the +2, right? All these +1s. Those are your modifiers. So when you roll, like on the bottom, you got saving throws, right? When you roll, it's going to tell you, like for strength, give me a strength saving roll. You got a +6 on strength. So when you roll it, you just tap the number. Boom. It rolled already. Damn, you rolled a natural 1, which means you automatically fail. But it was +6, so you got a 7. Let's roll it again. Bam, there you go. You got an 18 now. So you get an 18 +6, does all the math for you. Bam. You pass whatever roll that is. The next page that it's going to show you is it's essentially all your skills. So if I tell you make an acrobatics check, you just hit the number next to the acrobatics. If I tell you do sleight of hand check, perception check, do a history check. If you're like, hey, I'm going to walk in and I want to see if there's any chests in here that we can loot. Where you can either do investigation or perception. Both of those are on this list. Both of those will have a number associated with them to what you add to the roll. And if I give you an option, take the higher one. All right, if I go, all right, give me perception or investigation. All right, so the way it plays out in role playing, right? If perception is the highest one, you roll with perception. If you pass the check, then I would turn around like as you're scanning the room, you notice something that seems out of place. So then you can walk up to it. If you do investigation, then you're actively looking. Then I would say, as you're rummaging through, you find. All right, so there's the difference between perception and investigation. Then your next one is, we're going to skip the next one for a bit because we're going to go to your inventory. So this is all the shit that you have, right? If you notice right now, your armor class is a 13. The initiative is +3. So when you start a fight, whatever you roll, you can add a +3 to it. But your armor class is how hard it is to hit you. So right now, all somebody's got to do is roll a 13 to hit you. All right? Then you got your life total on this side of the screen here. Where am I? Yeah, on this side of the screen. Oh, and I accidentally made this bigger. Great. Now, the reason your armor class is low is because here in your equipment, you got the studded leather armor, but you're not wearing it. All right, so you would just click that box on the side. Once it turns red, now you're wearing it. Now you can see, now your armor class is 16. All right, because the armor that you put on adds more numbers to where your base is. Now, said before, you can also do your inventory where you go into management, and let's say you pick the long sword, right? But it wasn't an option when you did your tools a couple of pages ago. Well, now you can click right there for everything you're proficient with, and then just scroll up and find weapons. All right. And then now all the weapons that you are proficient with as a fighter will show up. And you see long swords right there at the top. So we're just going to add the long sword to your equipment. Once it's added, you'll see the long sword there. And then you just, once again, click the button. Now it is there. Now you have it. So now, here we go. Now, when you go to your attack window, you have your long sword with the red star because you have the mastery of it. And again, it will tell you what your mastery is. Where's the glaive? There you go. So you click on the sword, it'll tell you got the snap, which gives disadvantage on the next attack for anybody attacking you. Then it's got the versatile property, which I'll show you what that means right here. So versatile, you're going to see that there's two numbers. There's one that's highlighted and one that's not, right? So the highlighted number is if you're using it one hand. So if you got a shield in one hand and a sword in the other, it deals 1d8 damage plus your modifier, which is 4 in this case. All right. So whatever you roll, I'm gonna roll. So you dealt 6 damage plus the 4 modifier. So you dealt 10 damage in total, right? But if you're versatile, you could two-hand the weapon. So no shield, just grab it 2 hands. That does 1d10 damage plus 4. And again, you just hit that number. It'll roll the d10. And in this case, you rolled a 7 plus 4, so you hit for 11. All right, and all these numbers will go up slightly. The dice number is not going to go up. The amount of dice that you use will go up, but the modifier is the thing that's going to progress to make you hit harder and harder. All right, so now we got your inventory. You got party inventory that you can look at. There's no magic and spells in here because I don't want to get too complicated, but you can look at your magic and spells. Then you got all your speed and defense. That'll tell you. Then all your features for your class. So if you forget what you can do, this will tell you. This will tell you what the fighting style you picked. This will tell you about second wind. Everything's here. You got 2 charges of second wind right there. You got your weapon mastery once again for the weapons you picked. Even if you don't have them on you now, you can always stop by a store and pick your weapon later. All right, then there's more information the more you scroll. All right, your character alignment, everything that you put down. So Kenny had a question about how to actually play. Essentially, what we did was how you would play, right? You would get into a situation, a non-violent situation, and depending on, what it is that you're trying to do, I might ask you to roll a skill. So let's say you walk up to a guard, right? So perfect. You got intimidation. It's right there, but you got a +3 at. All right. You roll up on the guard. You want him to let you into the jail so you can question somebody that they have captive. All right. But the guard's being a little of a prick, so you want to be intimidating. Now, you can role play it, right? Or you can just say, I want to intimidate the guard. All right. Because not everybody's a role player, which is perfectly fine. So then I would say, okay, all right, roll an intimidation check, right? And you just press the number. The digital dice goes out. And you rolled a 9. Well, unfortunately, a 9 is not going to do it. You failed the check. Whatever consequence happens, right? So now, let's say the consequence of that is a fight breaks out. So I'm going to tell you to roll initiative. So you press your initiative button. The dice rolls. You got an 11. So that 11 is going to tell you what order you are in with the attack. Well, the guard rolled higher than you, so the guard goes first. Guard's going to swing. He's got to try to get a number higher than 16, right? So he can hit you. Let's just say in this case he fails, so it's your turn. All right, so now you got your sword. You got your choice. Are you going to hit him with one-handed or two-handed? All right, but first, you're going to hit the number in the middle because that's your attack. All right, so you got a +6 to your attack. So the dice is going to roll. And whatever it lands on, 17 +6, 23. That definitely is going to hit his AC. You're definitely going to hit him. So now again, are you going to do one-handed because you got a shield, or are you going to do two-handed? Let's do two-handed because it's more fun. You hit the number. Bam, you hit him for 10. So he takes 10 points of damage. Now it's his turn. He rolls 17. 17 is going to hit you. It's higher than your class. So anything that's 16 or above is going to hit. He hits you with 3 points of damage. Where you're going to look right up on this side. You're going to press the number. then whatever it is, he hit you with 3. So you roll to a 3. You hit the damage button. Bam. And I think I might have hit it twice by accident, but your life total goes down. This thing keeps track. And essentially, that's playing D&D. You walk around, you're living in this world, and you get put in scenarios. And your scenarios, depending on what the best usage of the dice rolls are, your success in this world and different scenarios comes down to a dice roll, or it might just come down to if you had a fucking great idea. Right? Let's say you ran into, let's say you just stole something. All right, there was a merchant walking by, and you had your rogue pickpocket him, and you stole something from him. Right, then a couple of minutes later, you run into the merchant, and the merchant is saying that, oh, somebody looks familiar in your group, and they're missing something, and he's a little bit suspicious of your guys because he kind of somebody looks familiar, so he has suspicion of maybe it was you guys, maybe it was a different group. You don't know, right? Normally, under the circumstances, I would ask whoever is leading the scene, make some sort of roll to either persuade this man or deceive this man or intimidate him or whatever outcome you're looking for. But if you step up and have a great idea, be like, yo, let's tell him the truth. I took this, we stole it from you because we knew that there was a rival group who was going to come to steal it, right? They weren't going to be so nice. So we took it, boom, here it goes back. If the idea works and it's flawless, no roll necessary. We just roll with it as a success. And we figure out where the scene moves on from there. All right. So that essentially is D&D. It's a live in the moment improv book that you are reading and actively participating in. And as you see, all you got to do is click the numbers here. Or if you prefer real dice, which I should run and get my dice just to show you, but you roll the dice. And with this here, it tells you what numbers to add to it. Simple as that. And if you're good with math, then great. If you're not good with math, stick with this because it'll do the math for you. One last thing we're gonna do. So you see, let me bring this back up the way I had it. I think that's it. So you see the little fire thing right next to the cog. That is where you take either a long rest or a short rest. Short rests are good if you still got more fighting to do. Like if you get stuck in a dungeon somewhere and you're partway through it, well, you're not going to take an 8-hour sleep, right? You're going to take a short rest. You're going to regain some hit points, do some other shit. But a long rest for the end of the day, you hit a long rest. All right, you can recover all your shit. You take your long rest, bam, now you're back to full health. At the end of every long rest, you always go back to full health. If you have an exhaustion point, you lose one of the exhaustion points until you go back down to 0. Exhaustion is another thing that we'll get to in like an advanced class if we ever fucking do that. Now, we're going to talk about leveling. It's going to be the last thing here. So, in here, when you hit that little cog, you can choose your dice. If you, like me, and you paid money, so you get basic dice, right? You get either black and white or black and red. Then I paid, so I bought some shit that gave me mythical. I bought all the metal pack. There's a healing dice thing that you can get. This is from some other shit I bought. But essentially, you get to pick, if you have it, you get to pick what your dice look like. All right. Or, not or, but N, you get to do management. So we're going to level up here, manage your character. We are going to jump. So here's your level. We're going to jump from 1 to 3 because 3 is where you get your subclass from. So once you hit to level 3 in the little drop-down menu, a new thing is going to light up, the subclass feature. So with the fighters, you get, in this edition, you get the Battle Master, Champion, Eldritch Knight, Psy Warrior, right? And then if you have all the old school shit, you get to do that too. For now, we're just going to go Battle Master. So Battle Master, you gain Student of War. Put that on the screen for you guys. So Student of War, you gain proficiency in one type of artisan tool of your choice. So you get to choose another proficiency, right? Whether you're acrobatics, animal handling, history, insight, something that you didn't pick before. This one, we're going to pick persuasion. Then you get your artisan tools. You could be a cobbler, which you can fix shoes. You can be a carpenter, which you can make tables. Like, this is stuff that's for like downtime role play, where you're just like, oh, we're gonna spend, what do you call it? I'm a carpenter. All right, we're gonna put carpenter tools. So in your bag, you got carpenter tools. So out in the wild, you're like, hey, we want to fortify our little campsite, right, where we're gonna sleep. Well, I got carpenter tools. I can whittle. Get me some sticks. I can whittle down some like stakes that we'll put in the ground as a defense for anybody who's walking up on us. We got a perimeter of shit that they're gonna run into. All right. So there's useful ways to implement these tools. Or if you're in a town and you're like, oh, well, we're gonna be in this town for a while. Cool. Well, we're not gonna take any missions. I'm gonna take a side job building tables at the local carpentry place. See if I can earn some extra gold during this downtime. Whatever you want, right? Then specifically for Battle Masters, you get maneuvers. You get 3 maneuvers that you can do. These things, you get ambush, bait and switch. What is this? Commanding strike, commander's present, disarming attacks, distracting attacks, footwork, feigning, goaded. There's a bunch of shit you can pick. All right, so right now we're just going to go with disarming attack. So you can see it'll always give you a description of what the hell you picked. So you can always go back and change it if you don't like it. But a disarming attack, when you hit a creature with an attack roll, you can expend 1 superiority die, which I will show you what those are, and attempt to disarm the target. All right, you add your superiority die. Your superiority die roll to the attack damage roll. The target must succeed a strength check or drop the object. So essentially, you're gonna do damage, right? So we saw it did your two-handed it. So it's 1d10 plus 4. Then you're gonna add a superiority die, and his strength check's got to be higher than the damage you did. Otherwise, he drops the sword, which is useful because on his turn, he's going to have to spend time to pick up the fucking sword. Or if you, what do you call it? If you want to use the disengage action, let's say it's somebody that is a little bit too high of a level to fight right now, but you got lucky and you disarmed them. Well, now you can leave. You can disengage, right? You can leave. But when you do that, unless you have an ability that says otherwise, the person gets to attack you on your way out. Well, if he attacks with an unarmed punch, that normally only does like 1 to 4 damage. Like, it's not that much damage because he doesn't have a weapon in his hand. You just took it out of his hand. So you can back out without taking a severe hit, which is good. Or there's a myriad of other things you can do, right? We're going to do evasive footwork. All right, as a bonus action, you can expend one of your superiority dice to take the disengage action. You can also roll this die and add the number to roll to your AC at the start of the next. So with evasive footwork, you want to do the disengage action, which we just talked about. So now you can actually disengage without taking an opportunity attack on whatever number you roll on your superiority die. You add that to your AC. So your AC was already a 16. If you roll a 6 on your die, now it's a 22. So your AC just bumps up on the way out of the door in case somebody else tries to hit you, right? Until your next turn. The next hit is going to be damn near impossible. Then, again, you can pick whatever else you want to... You can pick whatever else you want to pick. This one we're going to do goading attack. Which goading attack is essentially whoever you hit, they got to hit you. Because if they don't hit you, it's a disadvantage if they try to hit anybody else. So then you'll go through again. Just making sure everything's all right. Then you'll see here, your health jumps up because we leveled up. You now have... You now have all your maneuvers listed. All right, and so it's D8s that you get to add. And it'll tell you here your superiority die. So you get 4 chances to use your superiority die at this level. And the number of chances that you have will increase the higher level that you get. All right, so that's essentially it. You get, at this level, you get 1 action surge. You get 2 times to use your second wind. And again, it tells you everything that you have right then and there. I'm going to show you one of my other characters just so we can get a little bit of the magic part of it. And this is Valister. This is my bard that I use whenever I go to PAX. As you see, there still wasn't taking a long rest because we finished the one shot. But I just want to show you the magic spot. Oh, so here's your magic page. It tells you all the levels. 0 is your cantrip. Then you got levels 1, 2. Then you got things you can concentrate on, which is that diamond. And the other ones is rituals. Rituals is something you can cast without spending a spell slot, but it's going to take you 10 minutes in the game to do it. All right, and then there's a list of all your spells that you can do. Those are your cantrips. These are level 1 spells. And again, I had 4 slots to try level 1 spells, so it means I can cast 4 level 1s in between long rests. I've casted 3. Then if you see, we did I got level 2 spells. I only have 2 slots of those. I maxed out those until I do a long rest. But essentially, it tells you right there, cast, use, cast. Once you hit that, so let's say you want to cast Dissonant Whispers, right? So you say you're going to cast it. You press the button. Bam. Now it'll block out all the things because you used all your slots up now. As you notice, now that 4th one is filled out. But then once you say you're going to cast Dissonant Whispers, so now You have it. So Dissonant Whispers is a wisdom save on them. It tells you right there. The wisdom save is 13. So they got to get higher than a 13. Let's say they fail. So again, you hit the damage button, which is 3d6. That's going to roll out. You do 8 points of damage to them. Simple as that. Cantrips can be done every time. There is no limit. There is no spell slot limit for cantrips. So once every turn, you can do a cantrip. So I got Starry Wisp, right? That's a cool one. It's an attack. So you're going to hit the 5. Of course. There you go. You're going to hit the +5 because that's your +5 to attack. Of course. There you go. There's a roll. Oh, natural 20. So a natural 20 +5 means you succeed. What do you call it? You succeed automatically, right? Also with the natural 20, as you see here, the number for the damage goes up. So your dice doubles. So instead of 1d8, I do 2d8s worth of damage. Display them out right there. So I did 13 damage on that one spell, which is pretty dope. So for natural 20 rules, there's very different ways to play it. The standard way is you just double the dice, right? Now, because sometimes the damage is not really worth it with a natural 20, like I could have rolled 2 1s and just did 2 points of damage on a natural 20 roll. Some homebrewers have their own rules. The one that I use is not only do you double the dice, but whatever damage you have, you double the damage. So you get double it. Double dice, double damage. Just makes things a little more fun. But essentially, that is making a character on D&D Beyond. That is a little bit of how you use D&D Beyond to play. And it looks like we are past time, which I didn't think was... I thought we were going to end early tonight, but we got to talk about D&D. Show, if you're still here, you got any last thoughts? Because you're muted. I guess not. Well, this has been fun. I have been Cap. You have been you. Show has been somewhere, but he wasn't here. Until next time, maybe it'll be me again next week. Who knows? There's going to be sometime next month. I'm going to tease it right now. Sometime next month, there's going to be a surprise review video that is going to drop on the channel. So stay tuned for that. I know what it is. Nobody else knows. Like Toe doesn't know what, unless he watches this, he's not going to even know about it. So stay tuned for everything coming up. May have somebody here tomorrow for the sports. Not too sure. I mean, there's one scheduled. I don't know if Hoach is going to jump on or if Cheryl's going to jump on. Wrestling, I think somebody's going to be here. And then maybe something Friday and or Saturday. Who knows? But Toe's taking his much-needed break. Once again, we'll see you next week. This Cap signing out. Peace.